Played 3, lost 3. Although, do we take positives from today? Straight over to you, Matt. Team selection. What was your thoughts on the team selection today?
What was it? Four changes again. New back 2. Well, almost new whole back line today. Fabianski, I think, has played himself in already. Yeah. Fredericks in for Zabaleta. Smart choice, because Zabaleta would have been torn apart. They have so much pace going forward, Arsenal.
On that one, do you agree with that, Rich?
With Fredericks?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Fredericks was different class today. He brings so much pace to our right-hand side, as Matt said. And it's exciting when he overlaps, because it adds a different attacking dimension to us going forward with Fredericks bombing down the right-hand side. So I agree with Matt, yeah. Absolutely.
Matt, without going into depth of every single player, what was your overview of the team selection? Were you disappointed with the 4 changes?
No. Defence looked more solid, but I still wouldn't play Masuaku left back. He's not a left back. He's a winger, and he gets caught out as such.
Yeah.
Sanchez looks quality in the middle, home midfielder, literally like what we need. He was what we need. He just sits in front of the back 4, makes a tackle, plays ball away.
Yeah.
Going forward, so many options now. You can argue who hasn't played, who should have started, who didn't start.
Well, something we haven't said is when we done the intro was, I didn't tell you the even score. So West Ham obviously have played 3, lost 3, because we were defeated today at Arsenal at the Emirates 3-1. For me, I think we didn't deserve what the score comes across. Richard, team selection. Your quick opinion on the full team selection?
I thought that it was good that we flooded the midfield like we did, because that's where the game was going to be won and lost today, and it meant that we were more in the game than usual. I think if we went 4-4-2, we would have got overrun much more easier.
Yeah.
And the only change I would have had was to start Yarmolenko. That would have been, and perhaps if Kressel was fit to play him at left back, those would have been my 2 changes. Otherwise, I thought Sanchez was fucking different class in the middle of the park today. He looks like some player, and you know what? We all gave him stick when we signed him. We thought, who's this guy? He's been in the Premier League and he was rubbish, but yes, he was absolutely different class today. So the starting lineup for me was a decent starting lineup, which equipped us to stay in the game as much as possible. And yeah.
So let's just briefly start with some of the players that were left out. First player to be left out today was a player we probably did well. Maybe it was 50-50 split, but Ogbonna was dropped, and he wasn't even in the squad today, was he? And Diop took his position. So if we had to give an overall review on Diop and Balbuena's partnership today, I'll throw that one to you, Matt, even though we were defeated 3-1.
Yeah, I thought it worked a lot better than Balbuena did with Ogbonna last week. Diop seemed like a big commanding centre-back. He scored an own goal, which he could do nothing about. Like, it literally just got... He was standing about 2 foot away, it smashed him in the ribs and just bounced to the bottom corner.
Yeah.
I don't know, we're saying we conceded 3 goals, but as a whole, defensively we were a lot better. I thought maybe dropping Ogbonna completely out of the 18 would have been harsh, like just chucking him to the side. But I'm glad to see Diop got his chance. I think he proved he probably will stay in the team in front of Ogbonna at the moment.
Yeah, anything to add to that, Rich?
Yeah, I agree. As much as we did concede 3 goals today, I definitely felt watching the game we were more solid at the back. Diop, for the age he is, I mean, what is he, 21, 22? Yeah. He looks like he's that commanding centre-back, you know, and Balbuena, you know what you're going to get from him. He's a no-nonsense type player, but Diop showed me something different today. You know, he wanted to try pass it out from the back. He seemed to be composed. When he had to clear the ball, he got rid of it. So I was actually impressed with Diop's debut, and as Matt said, he could do absolutely nothing about the own goal. It was just really unlucky, and it came at a shit time in the game because we were in it at that stage, yeah.
Absolutely. I've got a bit of an interest in the defence, obviously, and always keep an eye on what's happening. And I was quite glad when I seen that Ogbonna was dropped. Glad to see Diop in, and I thought the performance between the 2 centre-halves, as you guys have said, commanding against a no-nonsense centre-half. Diop looked like he was talking loads. He was keeping the line quite solid. I did notice a few general mistakes from Diop, but I think that was maybe because he was making his debut in the Premier League at such a high stage. But there weren't mistakes that were that led to drastic, bad decisions. As you said, Matt, the own goal, he could do nothing about it. The ball was smashed against him, and the ball just trickled into the back of the net, which was really unfortunate. Obviously, we had another couple of changes in the back line. Frederick stepped back in for Zabaleta. What was your opinion, Richard, on Fredericks and his pace?
I'm glad he played. We missed him in the last game, and as I said earlier, he brings so much pace. He's actually lightning quick. He's genuinely lightning quick, and there were often times when he got the ball on the right-hand side today, and if there wasn't any passing option, he'd just kick it and run after it, and he would outpace their left back. It was with ease. And I think he gives us a much better option. He made a great tackle in the first half where he took out, I'm not sure it was a 50-50 ball, and he just went straight through, and I think it was Xhaka that went down. So he's got that in him as well. He can make a tackle, and going forward, he gives us a threat. So I was delighted that he played. I thought he had a decent game.
So if you were watching this review right now, you'd probably think that we're sounding really positive, considering we were beaten 3-1. But for me personally, I feel like there are positives to be taken from this game. But before we get into those, we're going to start moving into the game itself. West Ham, of course, went up 1-0. Matt, describe the goal.
I can't remember. It ended up with Anderson running at the back line.
Deep from in our half.
He just picked up and started going. He played a lot better today.
He did.
I thought he started running, and he cut into the edge of the box. And it was like an extended 1-2. He cut it back to Arnautovic, dropped it back into Anderson again. And at that point, I think anyone else probably would have shot if it had been anyone else. Anderson just looked up, rolled it again, and Arnautovic just buried it in the bottom corner. And at that point, we were on top.
And the key thing about that assist for Anderson was not the fact that he ran so deep and he carried the ball. He played a couple of 1-2s with Arnautovic, but the last pass he made, he was deep in trouble with the Arsenal defender, and he used his strength and held him off and laid off Arnautovic, which made me think to myself, this guy's gaining a bit of confidence in this league. This guy's starting to think like, I can actually play. I can run at these defenders. I can make a bit of a difference. Richard, Arnautovic scored. I mean, were we in ever any form of doubt? 18 yards out, bottom left-hand corner.
I still think that was a great finish. I think a decent keeper would want to try and get to a shot like that, but because of the pace on the ball, it was just pass check before he could even blink. And I thought Anderson's run for that goal was fantastic. He took us in a position in our own half, and he changed that whole attack. And the weight of the pass for our Arnautovic finish was just class. I mean, the little 1-2, as Matt mentioned, was actually a very, very good goal. Genuinely, from start to finish, was a very good goal. So, yeah, it breathes a bit of confidence into the fans, because we're starting to see what Anderson's about. Because in the first two games, he wasn't really anywhere, but now we're starting to see what we've been spending our money on.
Yeah, absolutely. West Ham's first half performance, Matt.
I'd give it like a 7 or an 8. This is the thing. I'm sitting here. I should be annoyed that we lost 3-1. And the only thing I can really get annoyed about is that we didn't finish our chances. For a game at Arsenal, we did well. We're never going to have 60-70% of the ball at Arsenal. But we had enough of the ball, and we actually done positive things with it. It wasn't just hoofed long. There's lots of balls on the floor playing out. You couldn't really argue for much more. The only thing, when we went in at half time, the only thing you could moan about was that Arsenal had scored a goal.
Yeah. And what about that goal in particular in Monreal? The ball came down the left hand side. Richard, Masuaku to blame, defence to blame. Who was to blame for that particular goal?
Well, everyone says it's Masuaku's fault, but I fight for him on this one. I think it's a mixture of Masuaku and Wilshere, really. To be honest, it's a very lucky goal. I know I'm sounding biased here, but that ball could have gone anywhere, and it dropped straight to the feet of Monreal. He couldn't believe his luck. What happens is Masuaku closed down the space, and there was 2-on-1, and Wilshere kind of, I wouldn't say he let his runner drift past him because his runner was already in front of him, but Wilshere should have made more of an attempt to track the runner because Masuaku tried to close down the man who had the ball. The cross comes across. It's unlucky on our part because that, as I said, that ball could have gone anywhere and it dropped straight to Monreal, who buries it in the goal. So
Richard,
I don't know if there's that much that was wrong with the defence on that one. It was just one of those.
And do you know what, Richard? I do agree with you on that. I do think that at some point some player's going to find a great pass and it's going to get in behind the defenders, and they're going to, come into the byline and they smash the ball through the middle. No one's there. Monreal steps up, puts the ball in the back of the net. I do find that unfortunate. Matt, have you got anything to say on that kind of equalising goal?
It's just typical, because they had 2 of them chances last week against Chelsea and they fucking blazed them over the bar. And you knew, because it was us, they were just going to bury it.
Yeah.
Again, it is one like Rich says, one of them was they just stuck it across the box.
Yeah.
And it took was it 1 or 2 deflections, it ended up at Monreal's feet and he just buried it.
Yeah.
So, first half performance, for me personally, I thought West Ham done alright. I thought we had some chances. The biggest key factor for me was the fact we went into the half-time 1 each. And, the game was really anyone's. West Ham had the chances. We looked stronger back in the defence. Wilshere in particular, Matt, where was he at for this game today in his overall performance?
He had a pretty quiet game.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was sitting deeper, like playing in the holding 2, which again isn't. I think Pellegrini was trying to convert him into this, but it's not naturally his position. Naturally, he's more an attacking player. But also, kind of suspected that he wouldn't have a big game today. Like going back, because this is the first time back at Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was going to go one way or the other. He's either going to come out flying out the gates and be absolutely amazing, or he was going to get through a quiet game and try and do the basics and not get himself in any trouble, which sort of looked like how it went.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What about you, Richard? There was one occasion where Wilshere had the ball on the attack. I think I looked over to on the left-hand side, you had Anderson. He looked completely free. I don't know what Wilshere was doing, but he got tackled in from the midfielder who tracked back, must have been 30 or 40 yards to make the tackle. A really good tackle, to be fair. But Wilshere just looked a little bit lost in that little position. I mean, this is not me digging him out, but just today seemed to be lost in our midfield today. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I had a bad game. I just think he was just quiet, quieter than usual. With that attack that he had, I pulled my hair up because how has no one given him a call that there's a man on?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a man tracking him for like 10 meters, and he just kept running, and obviously he hadn't heard anything, so he kept going. No one called man on, and he got tackled. And I was just thinking, I think it was 3-on-2. If he managed to get that ball out wide to Anderson, we would have been in the money.
Yeah.
But because there was no communication, he got tackled, and it was just the story of the first half. Really, we had so many chances. I can't believe we went in at 1-1.
Yeah.
We should have genuinely. I'm not even being biased. We should have been in at least 3-1 up.
Yeah, well, there was definitely chances by West Ham. The game was pretty even, but I felt like we had the upper hand going into the second half. What is Matt? What's Snodgrass doing that is keeping him in our side?
I don't know. He's got a good set piece. He's not done anything. He's not done anything wrong. But I don't know how he got there in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, he runs up and down the wing. He's not quick. He's not going out to skin anyone. But he's like old school style. He'll put effort in. He'll make a tackle. He'll throw himself in front of people, and he'll give 100%. But when you've got like someone like Yarmolenko sitting on the bench, I don't understand why he's sitting in front of him just because he's got a left foot. Like that's for me is what it is. He can give he's got a good set piece, and he was unlucky not to get an assist. I think in the second half he set up like an Arnautovic from a free kick, and Arnautovic just blazed it wide.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I don't really see what he's actually doing in the team.
Richard, has Matt given him a harsh review? What's your opinion on Snodgrass?
I think it's slightly harsh for Matt, but I can understand where he's coming from though. Look, I think he's more than just a set piece taker, because his set pieces weren't that great today actually, and in fact his set pieces this season haven't been that great. But he's just, what I've seen from him this season is he hasn't been scared to take on players when sometimes there's two or three players on him, and he'll try to get away, and in fact he's got away a number of times. Often people think he's going to play the pass, and he dummies the pass and he ends up sending players away. He played a great ball through for Arnautovic in the first half, and Arnautovic really should have played Antonio in for a tap-in, and that would have been 1-0. Again, second half, he put one through to Arnautovic at the far post, he blazed over. So, as Matt said, he didn't really do anything wrong. But in saying that, I'd still have someone like Yarmolenko start, and that's why I think all of us were a bit puzzled as to why Yarmolenko didn't start today, because you can see the quality he has whenever he comes on. It's a difficult one, because Snodgrass hasn't really done much wrong. So I'm kind of on the fence with Snodgrass. I thought he had an okay game today.
Yeah, and I suppose the same question goes to you, but with regards to Mikel Antonio, who one of our guys calls Mikel Akinfenwa, which I thought was quite a good comparison. So Matt, what is Antonio doing to impress Pellegrini that he is coming back into the side again? And how did you rate his game today?
To be fair, he actually had a good game for himself today. Obviously, he got dropped out last week, and it must have given him like a kick up the butt or something.
Yeah.
Because he was actually running at people. He wasn't afraid to try and cross on his left foot. It may not have been a successful cross, but last week, so at Bournemouth, every time he got into that position, he just went, I'll cut it on my right hand side again and get tackled.
Yeah.
Like, he was running at people. There was one point when he literally knocked the ball in the first half and just sprinted round the outside of Bellerin to pick the ball up again.
Yeah.
And like, Bellerin's supposed to be like the quickest right back in the league.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, that's the sort of thing you sit there and think, well, if he can do that, why is he not doing it more often? Like, he's frustrated. But in the sense, he had a good game today. Like, the things he wasn't doing against Bournemouth, like running, trying to take people on, crossing the ball, he was doing today that he didn't do last week. So maybe that's, and obviously it's the size and pace of him. Obviously, he probably came in for Hernandez, and they said go out on the wing, free up Anderson to sit in the middle, and he does to an extent track back. So.
And
maybe that's why he got played in.
To bring another midfielder into the equation, Carlos Sanchez started today. Richard, rate his performance.
Oh, he was different class today. He does the basics so well. I'd give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was probably our standout player. Because, when he first joined the club, we were all a bit negative, including myself, because of what he did at Villa. He didn't light up the Premier League there. But today he was, he was a man possessed. He was so committed to the cause, made some great tackles. He was strong in the air. And he, as Matt said earlier before we came on, he sits in front of the back four, and that's the player we've been missing. I don't think Noble should ever start another game. Seeing what I saw from Sanchez today, I don't think Noble will ever start another game. Because he allows Jack to play further up the field. Although today Jack was deep for some reason, So if Sanchez is going to hold, that's got to free up space for Jack to get on and bomb on beyond. But Jack was in a shell today. He didn't have his best game.
Sanchez, for me, comparison was when we had Alex Song on form. There was a very strong similarity.
He reminded me of Song today.
Yeah, he really, really did today. I was massively impressed. Do you know what the funny thing is, guys? We've been on here now for 17 minutes, and we've started to go slightly into our side, working our way through the team. And so far, there's rarely been a negative. So, a question I'm putting to you, Matt, is how have West Ham been beaten 3-1 today?
It's two things. One, we didn't take our chances. We had so many more chances, not even including the questionable offside for the goal we did score. I only saw it once, and even on Sky Sports they said it was so close, like for Arnautovic. And then the other side of things is that this league punishes you if you make mistakes. I didn't see the third. The third was a goal on the counter and injury time, try and push to get 2-2. But the first two goals were two mistakes, and we got punished for them. But we didn't do the same thing down the other end when they made mistakes and we got the ball. That's what it comes down to, was the clinicalness. Yeah. We weren't as clinical as Arsenal.
Anything to add to that, Rich?
I completely agree. It comes down to when you're playing in the best league in the world, you can't afford to miss chances, especially away from home.
Yeah.
You're not going to get chances like that every week, especially when you're playing Arsenal. So it's a good sign that we're creating those chances. And I do feel as though today was a good day to play Arsenal. But if you don't take your chances, you're going to get punished. I know, it's getting towards the end of the game when it was 2-1. I just felt that third goal was going to be inevitable. They were going to hit us on the break like always. Same old. But if you don't take your chances in the first half, then you can't really be upset when you end up losing, can you?
No, of course not. What we have had is Arnautovic is limped off. We're not too sure. Obviously, the physios, all the coaches, everyone will assess that and get the news out if that's going to be a long-term injury or not. I'm hoping it's not going to be. It looks likely he'll probably miss the midweek game, but I'm hoping that he'll be back for the Wolves game. Chicharito came on. He's my man. He's my main man. I back him up every single time he plays. I can't back him up today, but what I can say is he's not been brought into West Ham just to be the lone striker, and that's exactly what he was brought on to do, and he had to do once Arnautovic was gone off. What's your opinion, Matt, with Chicharito coming on, and how do you rate his what, 25 minutes he got?
The thing is, once he came on, Perez was already on the pitch.
No, Perez came on
So
after.
Perez came off. I thought once Perez came on, Perez would have gone down the middle, and you'd have moved like Anderson out onto the wing and sort of tucked Hernandez in behind, because you can't play like, it's no fault of his own. You can't expect like 5'7" Hernandez to go and sit up against like 2 6'3" centre backs and try and muscle for the ball. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, playing that way, you're restricting not your whole game, because there was other, going down the wing, but a big part of our game is sort of playing it either over the top or into and out of itch for him to hold the ball up and link it in. And Arnautovic can do it because he's 6'2" and he's got muscle in him, but it's not Hernandez. Hernandez isn't going to do that. Yeah. So the second you've done that, you were like almost handicapping yourself going forward.
But if we are missing Arnautovic, is that, I mean, obviously he's our man, Rich. What does that mean for West Ham moving forward? If he is to say miss 2 or 3 weeks at least, well,
I think it's a massive blow, because this formation that we played today is our strongest formation in my opinion. We're playing one up front because we have to flood the midfield else we get overrun, and Hernandez can't play as a lone striker. So I don't see what role he has in our team, because when he comes on, he doesn't hold up the ball very well. So he doesn't have pace. So we know he's a great finisher, but I honestly question what role he's going to have in West Ham going forward. The only time he's going to play is now, if you as you mentioned, if Arnautovic is injured. That's the only time he's going to get game time. Maybe him and Perez could form a partnership, but I think it's a massive blow, because Arnie is just, he's that outball that you need. He's quick, he's strong, holds up the ball so well, and he's scoring goals. So I think it will be a huge blow, even if it's for 2-3 weeks. I think we're going to struggle without him.
Yeah. Perez came on, he was quite quiet. Thoughts, Matt?
I thought he was a bit hard done by it, because they put him on and shoved him out on the wing. Now, I might be completely clueless on this, but I thought he was a centre forward. Like, I know he didn't play many games for Arsenal, but when he did, he played down the middle. He's not a winger. Yeah. I don't see why you'd bring him on. Like, I know Anderson is more effective playing as like the centre attacking mid, but he's got pace, and like you saw for the goal, he assisted making him run down the wing. So I would have put Perez in the middle and moved Anderson on the wing. You sort of put him on there. It's like, you might as well put anyone on and stuck him up there and gone, there you go, Garth on the left wing. It was ineffective. It's almost as ineffective as putting Hernandez up front as a target man.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything good out of him. You saw from the fact that the one thing he had to do in the game was square it to Yarmolenko for a tap in, and he fucking smashed it like he was trying to finish. And he had no chance of getting there.
Second goal for Arsenal came in about the 70th minute. Lacazette smashed the ball against Diop, trickled in, own goal. Nothing really Diop could do about that. And then, as Richard said, moving into the last couple of minutes of the game, it was inevitable really at that point that Arsenal were going to just score from something. It was probably inevitable that it was going to be Danny Welbeck that was just going to come off the bench and put the ball in the back of the net. So the game obviously finished 3-1. But it's funny, we've spoken here quite a lot, 20 odd minutes, and we have been quite positives, which makes me think, moving into the next game, there are positives to take. So, as a whole, when you think about our side and judge our performance today, defensively, it's as if Pellegrini is starting to really find what he wants to do. Central defensive midfielder position, looks like he's maybe found what he wants in Sanchez. He still needs to work on his attacking, and it seems to be, we've conceded 3 goals today, but is he just trying to find that balance between the back line and the forward line, Matt? How do you move forward from here?
Well, I think, let's consider. I mean, I haven't got it in front of me, but he made 5 changes last week, 4 changes this week, and we had 5 debuts at Anfield. Yeah. So in 3 games, he's changed 14 players around, whether that's in or out. He's still learning his team, but I think the team he played today is a lot closer to the team that he's going to play going forward than the team we saw last week. So I think he's goalkeeper. I don't think there's any question.
Well,
he hasn't had a bad game yet, Fabianski.
And great saves today. Great saves today.
Yeah. The back 2, I think as a 2 they look a lot better than when Ogbonna was paired with Balbuena. You know, maybe it's characteristics, maybe it's personalities, but as a two, Diop and Balbuena today looked a lot better than when Bonner was sitting in there.
Yeah.
Fredericks, I think him and Zabaleta are going to share the workload a lot this season. I think Pellegrini will take it on a game-by-game basis of who we playing.
Yeah.
The only thing you're going to look at really is the front three, and I mean that can interchange. You know, we could probably sit here every week and try and predict it and possibly get it wrong because you've now got so many options of who's going to play along the line. Again, Pellegrini may look at a team and go, "Oh no, he's going to be better, and we'll play him instead."
Something I will say is we briefly talked about it before we came on. Yarmolenko came on for Snodgrass, and I said, has Yarmolenko done enough to out Snodgrass from his position? Now, this is not doing Snodgrass a discredit because I think he's been playing well. I just don't think he's at the highest quality, which is what the West Ham currently need. Yarmolenko, when he came on off the bench, if you think about what he actually did in that game, I think, Richard, you pinpointed the fact that he looked a little bit sluggish. And my argument to that was, I don't think his style of play is anything but...
I agree with you.
Anything more than being a sluggish sort of player. I don't think he needs to be fast, pacey. He's just quality on the ball. He brought that ball out from the big kick-off. He played in I think it was Fredericks. He had a bit of a nice relationship with Fredericks on the right-hand wing, right-hand side. And then he pinged a couple of balls in. And on Andy Carroll's day, reasonably controversial what I'm about to say, but the balls he put into those box, they were literally screaming and crying out for a Andy Carroll type header to smash into the back of the net. And maybe because we didn't have an Arnautovic in there and we had a 5'7", who, he can jump, Hernandez. I just think that I would love to see Yarmolenko. And on top of that, Richard Anderson today, I mean, if you look back at Orange United's Twitter feed and Facebook feed, what you will see is a lot of positive moves, especially moving forward from Anderson. How did you find him in his whole game and moving forward?
Oh, he completely came out of his shell today. We saw the contrast is just unbelievable from the first two games. You know, whenever he saw any bit of space, he knows how quick he is. He would bolt into that space, carry the ball. What he did for the Arnautovic first goal was magnificent. He played I think it was in the second half on the counter. He beat a few players, played it out wide. I think it was to Perez, who blazed across the face of goal. You know, so I thought Anderson had a great game, much improved, and that's going to do wonders for his confidence. You know what? I'm excited to see what Anderson can do against the smaller clubs because he'll tear them to pieces.
Yeah, you can see.
I think Pellegrini needs to find his front three that he wants to play, and once he gets that stabilised, I think we're going to be dangerous.
I think he's close. I really do think he's close. I think we stated this before. His stats for every other club read very similar to what's happening at West Ham. They start off a bit slow. Out with the fact he had Real Madrid and Man City, all his other clubs he's had read very, very similar. And he's obviously making a judgment on what's happening. So hopefully he's going to find that perfect balance. Up next for West Ham is the League Cup against Wimbledon. And then we are back at home against Wolverhampton Wanderers. What is he? I know we're going to do some previews for the matches, but you know, as a whole, Matt, give me your kind of last 20 seconds overview of the game today.
Different team, a lot of positives. Shape, style looked a lot better, but we need to be more clinical.
Yeah. Straight to the point. Yeah, Rich.
First half, we were better than Arsenal. We had more chances than Arsenal. Should have been home and dry. And then second half, we were a bit too sluggish in the first 20 minutes of the second half. Allowed them to get back into the game. Losing Arnautovic was a massive blow, but massive positives to take in relation to our first two games. So I'm not feeling too depressed about this one.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. We've played 3, we've lost 3, we've conceded... Is it 10? 10 goals?
Oh, we got 9.
9. Scored
9.
2. Scored 2. But I am positive. I'm just going to stick with in Pellegrini we trust. He's spending the time sitting back, judging absolutely everything. I think the Wimbledon game will be really good to give other players a bit of a run out. And moving into the Wolves game, yeah, Wolves are supposedly this great team, but I'm confident that we can go there and go, you know, bring Wolves to our home and show them how to play a bit of football. And hopefully Anderson's found a bit of form and that can be his game. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you follow all our supporters clubs on all the social media accounts. Umbro, the Ribman of London. Make sure you obviously follow Matt, Rich, myself, all on Twitter, all that malarkey. And yeah, make sure you just subscribe and keep getting in contact with us. Got some really exciting content coming out over the next few weeks, and I hope you enjoy watching our show. He's been Matt, he's been Rich, I've been Anton. Come on, you irons.